But I want to start with a question for all of you. Have you ever been to a theme park or a fair? Cool. So I remember, when I was preparing the speech, I was thinking about it. I remember the first time I took my daughters and my kids to the fair. I have 5 kids. I have 4 daughters and 1 son. My 1 son is RJ, he's right here. And I remember the first time we went to the fair, RJ was like 2 years old, right? So he couldn't get on anything, of course. But my oldest daughter was around 9, right? And I remember walking around the park, and there were so many rides, right? We get there, it's Universal Studios, Florida. Aww. We're walking around Island Adventures, and there's all the big giant rides. You smell the food, you see the characters running around, but the rides, right? The rides were the big things. Like, ooh, Daddy, I want to get on all these rides. I remember my daughter telling me, Daddy, I want to get on all
like
these
Six
rides.
Flags.
It's like Six Flags, yeah. So we're walking around, and we're trying to find a ride that she could get on. Do you think she can get on all the rides at 9? No, she couldn't, right?
You have to be smart.
But even though she couldn't get on the ride, she wanted to. She wanted to, which was dope to me, right? Because I was like, oh, wow. Even though the world thinks that she can't do something, she feels like she can. To me, that inspired me. That made me feel like, wow, that's pretty cool, right? Now, I want you to think about the first time that you went to a theme park. Were you able to get on all the rides that you wanted to go on? The first time you went, you could get on all the rides?
I'm tall.
Oh, you're tall? Okay, cool. All right, cool. But most of us probably couldn't, right? The first time you probably couldn't, right?
The first time we went that I remember was when we lived in England. We went to Chessington, and it was in London, and there was this ride called Dragon's Fury, and I really wanted to ride it, but I was just like a centimeter short, and they didn't let me on.
Right, so you couldn't, but your expectation of yourself was that you'd be able to ride it, correct?
The people said that I could, but I was wearing flip-flops, so we went back to the hotel and we changed into some boots and they lifted me up.
Okay, cool. Now I want to remember that what I was saying about the story time thing, right? So I can't do like stories. I'd love to hear all your stories. We can talk about them after I'm done. But in the midst of this, okay, I'm going to ask you to hold out from your stories. But thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that, right? But for most of us, the first time we went to a theme park, we probably, or the fair, could you get on every ride that you wanted to get on?
No.
Now, even the tall guy, I'm pretty sure when his parents took him to the fair the first time, he was probably really little and couldn't get on the ride that goes all the way up to the top and slams down, right? Huh?
Age, so.
Right, that too, right? So, sorry. I'm going to ask you another question. Have you ever been in a situation where you walked into it saying, I'm going to fail?
Yep.
In that situation, you walked in and said, I'm going to fail. Did you fail?
No.
Yes.
Well, you
Video games.
Chances are, I'm going to tell you, chances are, if you walked into a situation and you walked into that situation saying, I'm going to fail, chances are you did. Do you know why? Because that was your expectation. You set that expectation by your words, right? In your life, your expectation will largely determine where you end up. Now you may be asking yourself, what does that even mean? I don't control where I end up. But what if I told you that you are 100% in control of how your life ends up? You determine whether you become the president or a prisoner. You determine whether you become a CEO or a criminal. Whether you achieve your dreams or live out your nightmares is 100% up to you and no one else. The decisions that you make every day determine what happens in your life. Did you know that? Did you know that already here today, you've already made a decision that will determine where your life ends up?
Yeah. No.
You did. And I'll show you. So, I'm going to ask you a question, another question. How many of you guys want to be in the NBA when you grow up? All right, we got 3 people. Cool. All right. So, if you want to go to the NBA, that means you want to be one of the 420 people in the league. That's right. There are 420 NBA slots. Because there are 30 teams in the NBA with the maximum number of 14 slots per team. Now, most teams don't carry 14 players on their roster. Sounds like a lot of slots, right? 420. It's a lot. It's easy to get to the NBA, right? Wrong. Now, let's juxtapose that with the number of kids playing high school basketball right now. In 2016, there are 429,504 boys playing high school basketball in America. The next year, only 18,864 boys played college basketball. That's only 4% of the boys who played high school ball the year before. 4%. So let's make that a more realistic number to you guys. 100 people start out in a room, and only 4 people get to move on to the next room. Is that a lot?
No.
No, it's not. Let's take it even further, right? Of that group, only 4,152 of those young men were eligible for the draft at the end of the season.
What? Oh my gosh.
And of that 4,152, only 60 of them were drafted into the NBA.
What?
Yeah. So, let's start from the top. We had 429,504 boys that played high school ball in 2016, and only 60 of them made it to the NBA. That's a 0.01% chance to go from high school to the NBA.
What? That's
That's not even a whole percent. That's 0.01%.
Don't forget the double. Don't forget.
So let's take that 100. So let's take that 100 boys again, right? Let's start out in a room. 100 people start in a room, right? We have 4 of them that go on to the next room out of the 100. We have,
2.
and from that 4 that come out of there, only like the leg of the person, one of the people gets into the NBA.
That would be hard.
That makes it difficult, right? That sounds difficult, right? Now, I want you to understand this. I'm not telling you that to tell you that it's impossible to make it to the NBA. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is the competition
It's huge.
is stiff to make it to the NBA. All right? So the decisions that you make en route to making it to the NBA will greatly impact whether or not you make it. So let's go back to the decisions, right? So if you are one of the people who said you wanted to be in that 0.01% of people who make it to the NBA, I want to ask you a question. Let's be realistic. How often do you practice? Every day. All right, good. Good answer. I'm going to give you this response. If the only time you practice basketball is when you have a coach in front of you or your parents are forcing you to go play, you're probably not going to. You have to play so much. You have to put so much of your time, energy, and resources into perfecting that craft to be in that 0.01% that you have absolutely no time to do anything else. That's a decision. If your ultimate goal is to make it to the NBA, you should have a ball in your hand everywhere you go. Anytime you're not in school, church, or asleep, you should be working on your game. That's a decision that you can make today to begin your journey towards achieving your goal. Now, I'm not going to stay on that point for long because I'm sure that there are young men in here who want to do other things outside of making it to the NBA. Now, I've already heard what a lot of your goals are. I heard we got an architect in the room, we got a rapper in the room, we have Marines in the room, we have a president in the room, we have an NFL player in the room. I don't remember what you said you wanted to be. What did you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow up? Football player in the room? What do you want to be?
NBA player.
NBA player? Okay. NFL player. Okay, cool. So you heard those numbers I was just saying, right? Now I want to go back to that NBA number for you, right? Because I said 0.01% of NBA. What do you think? Well, the NFL team has a lot more players on the team, right? So it's got to be easy to make it to the NFL, right?
No, it's harder.
Guess what?
There's more people that play NFL.
Guess what?
More people play NFL.
Guess what? It's harder. What if I told you less than 1% of the people who play college football make it to the NBA? I mean, to the NFL. Less than 1% of people who play college football make it to the NFL.
0.1?
Less than 1%. It's difficult. Again, I'm not telling you that to kill your dream. What I'm telling you is, if you want to go to the NFL, you got to be doing a whole lot more than watching YouTube videos. All right? All right? Just think about that. So, hold on. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Okay.
So in the NFL, do they keep the same people like they kept Tom Brady for a while?
You have
Well,
to
Tom Brady's an exception. So the average average NFL career is 2.5 years. The average NFL career is 2.5 years, right? So Tom Brady's played almost 20 years now. Tom Brady's the exception to the rule. He's not the rule.
like
The vast majority of the league changes out every 2 years.
like Peyton Manning was
Peyton Manning,
exceptional.
exceptional. Correct.
So they don't
Can
like keep better players than the people that they have to pick.
Well, I mean, okay, let's look. I'm going to pause real quick on this. I told you 15 minutes. I think I'm good on my time. All right, so in the NFL, right? If you're really great, they're going to keep you on board. But as we've seen in certain situations, once the NFL team is done with you, they're done with you. Let's look at Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's just look at the Colin Kaepernick situation, right? Colin Kaepernick took his team to the Super Bowl. He was one play away from winning the Super Bowl. 2 years later, he was out of the league. Eric Reed was a Pro Bowl safety last year. He's a free agent this year. He's out of the league. When the league decides they're done with you, they're done with you. So you have to realize that you have to be in control of your options. And the more opportunities you give somebody else to say, I dictate whether or not you work,
Like
or the less you have
Amendola.
absolute
Like
less of a chance to work.
Danny Amendola, he's changing teams
Yes.
from the Patriots.
Well, Danny Amendola is a different situation. Danny Amendola, started out with the Rams, right? Went from the Rams to the Patriots, ended up in a really good situation. But if Danny Amendola would have stayed with the Rams and played the way he played, he probably would have been out of the league in 3 years. The good thing for him was that he ended up with Tom Brady and was able to, extend his career. But for the most part, like, guys come to the league and leave all the time. Like you have a team, an NFL roster, 53 players. Only 22 start.
Oh, like,
Right? So that's 30, how many players? 30 some odd players that are expendable. I can take you, I can leave you. You're a special teams player, you might play a year. Unless you're an exceptional, like, there's very few times we get like a Steve Tasker, who's a Hall of Famer based on nothing but, special teams stuff.
punching and
Yeah, kick return, right. So you got to think about those things, right? Now again, I want to go back to my what I was talking about. But I want you guys to understand that this is not about killing a dream that you have. Not at all. It's just I'm trying to get you to go ahead and start building yourself towards those goals and those decisions that you need to make right now to be successful. Hold 1 second. Can you hold your question to the end? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's just a question about my career.
All right, cool. We'll talk about that when I'm done. Okay, thank you. All right, so I want to thank you guys for sharing with me what you're interested in, right? And I want to tell you that though the competition for jobs may not be the same as what we talk about with NBA players, there's definitely still competition for all of these jobs that you want to have, things that you're interested in doing. So here are some decisions that you can make right now to get yourself closer to achieving whatever goal it is that you want to achieve. Because believe me, any goal that you have is definitely achievable, but you have to make decisions to get towards those goals. 1, Google, right? Whatever it is you want to do, Google that career,
Google is powerful.
right? Yes, Google. We use it for everything else, right? If I want to know what size LeBron James shoes are, I can Google it. If I want to know how to find when the newest Jordans are coming out, I can Google it. If I want to
Why
find,
would you want to know what size shoes LeBron?
so remember we talked
is?
about like not yelling stuff out and being respectful. When we talked about that.
Exactly.
All right, thank you. All right, so you would if you wanted to see the newest Cardi B video, you'd Google it, right? You'd go to YouTube, you look that up, right? So if we can Google all those things, we can definitely use Google to plan our strategy for success in the future, to achieve our goals. I want you guys to Google your dream career and find out more information about it. Does your dream require a college degree? Find that out. How much does it pay? You want to know how much your job pays you, right? Yes? Okay. So Google it. You can Google all of these things. Does it require a special certification?
No.
All right?
Yeah.
If on that paper that Miss Brittany gave us outside, when she asked you, what are the steps towards becoming what you want to be, you didn't have anything to put there, you might want to Google what those steps actually are. Or even if you had something, make sure that those steps actually would get you there, right? If it does require college, find out which colleges offer that major so that you can find out what job you want and what are the best steps to get you there. Now, this helps you in another way as well. Let's say if you pick a career that requires college, right? Who said they want to be an architect, right? So you want to be an architect, right? So you need to find what colleges offer degrees in architecture. Now, when you decide to go to college, you're not just going to college because somebody said you should go to college. You're going to college with a plan. My plan is to be an architect, so I'm going to school for architecture. Miss Brittany was talking outside. She said so many times people go to college and they end up with degrees that they don't end up working in. That's a waste of money. You could be spending that time that you spent in college working on this degree that you're not going to use, you could have dedicated towards your dream, your goal. Right? So my young man in the back, you want to be a rapper. You know how many careers there are that you can go to college for that center around music? Around business, the business of music. And I want to encourage you in that. Right? Rap, love it, do it. But understand, the money is not in being in front of that microphone. You can get the clout, you may be on the videos, you may be able to be recognized in the mall. But there's a whole lot of rappers out here that need that money that people behind the scenes get. Right? If you look at the most successful rappers, it's the guys that have found ways to become successful behind the board, not in front of the microphone. So I want you to think about that. Okay? We talk about Googling. All right? I also want you guys to start beginning to look for any information that you can find to put yourself around people who do the job that you want to do. You can do that through volunteering opportunities. You can do that through internships. You can do that through paid positions. Do you know what an internship is? Who knows what an internship is? What's an internship?
Well, I know what an intern is. An internship would be like you'd be like being an assistant for what you want to do.
Sort of, yeah, like being an assistant, yeah.
Did you say scholarship?
No, not scholarship, internship. So internship, like he said, right? Say you want to be an architect. I'm going to go back to architect. You can intern for an architect. And what you do is you pretty much follow them around. You do things that they need you to do. But you are working directly in line with somebody who's already doing that job. So while you're doing that, you're finding out more information about it. If you want to be a rapper, you can intern at a record label. Sean Puffy Combs, who knows who Puffy is? P. Diddy, right? P. Diddy started out as an intern. He started out as an intern with, what's my guy's name? And Reed.
Yeah.
Right? And he started out just following him around, Uptown Records, just following him around. They needed a music video done, Diddy was helping making the video. They needed a dancer, Diddy was dancing. If they needed somebody to say something on the hook, Diddy was right there. He learned the business of it. Because he learned the business of it, he's now a mogul. He's a multi-millionaire. 100 times over. Because he focused on the business aspect of it. And there's opportunities to do that. You can volunteer. You can volunteer places. There are also paid positions. Once you guys get to the age where you can actually work for money and things like that, there's absolutely paid positions that will offer you an opportunity to be around whatever career it is you want. Even NFL, right? If you want to be in the NFL, maybe what you could do is volunteer to be a ball boy at the Citadel football games, right? Now you're hanging around with the football players. Be a ball boy. You people who run the balls on the field. You run the balls off the field, throw them to the ball boy. If you want to be a basketball player, you can be a ball boy at the CSU games. These are opportunities that are out there. We just got to go out there and get them. All right? Now, if you decide to do these things, you're going to place yourself in a better position than your peers who are also vying for those same spots that you all want to be in one day. Now, along the way, you're also going to meet people who are going to help you get closer to your dreams. Whether that be your dream house, car, job, or life. But if you dedicate yourself to your dreams, you will achieve them. But that starts with raising your expectations of yourself. Now, please understand that in deciding to raise your expectations, that does not mean that everything's going to be perfect. Doesn't mean you're never going to fail. Doesn't mean you're never going to have a misstep. Trust me, Mr. Lewis fails all the time. Mr. Lewis makes mistakes all the time. But I'm focused on my dream. I'm focused on my goal. I have a laser focus on my goal. Anybody watch X-Men?
Oh, yes.
Right? Who knows Cyclops?
Oh, yeah.
What's Cyclops' real name? Scott Summers. Gotta do better. All right, so Cyclops, what's his special power? What's his superpower? What can he do?
He can.
What does he have?
Laser vision.
Laser vision, right? He has laser vision. He looks at a thing and shoom, a laser goes through it. You gotta be like Scott Summers. Your goal has to be that laser. If you want to be a rapper, your goal, everything you do should be boom. I'm focused, right? And that's what you have to do. Now, does that mean that sometimes you're not, like sometimes Cyclops messes up, right? And he shoots at things that he messes up the house, whatever it is. But when he's focused, when he's locked in, he's dead on his target. He's dead on his target. And you got to be there. You got to be there, right? But sometimes you will mess up. But when you have a raised expectation of yourself, okay? That means that when you do stumble or take a misstep, you won't stay down long. Because you'll know I have to get up. I got to get back on my focus. I fell off. You know, the Bible says, train a child up in the way they should go. They will not depart from that path. The truth is, you will depart from the path. But at least you know where the path is. So when you fall off of it, you can come right back to it. It's like, oh, I took a couple steps to the left. I'm back on the right. I'm good. But if you don't know where the path is, if you don't know what your goal is, then you can't get back to that path. All right? So when you set your expectations on greatness and achieving your goals, there is not one person on this earth who can stop you. They may slow you down, but you cannot be stopped if you keep your eyes on the prize. Again, this begins with raising your what?
Child.
Raising your what? Raising your what? Everybody. Expectations. Very good. I'm going to tell you a story, right? Mr. Lewis, I wasn't always on the right path, right? I wasn't always on the right path in life. I wasn't. There was a time when I was in the Army. You want to be in the Marines? I was in the Army. I was in the Army for 6.5 years. And while I was in the Army, I fell on some hard times, man. I made some mistakes. I was actually like the laughing stock of my unit. People make fun of me. People talk trash about me behind my back. And you know what's worse? Because I wasn't focused, I believed everything they said about me. They called me trash. They called me dirt. I believed it because I wasn't focused. And that stayed with me for a long time. Sam, I told Sam a little bit of my story because I used to talk to him at the Carolina Teen Center. But I believed it for a long time. I carried that in my heart for a long time. Some people say, Lou's trash, dude. Lou's a dirtbag soldier. I believed it. I believed it for a long time. I believed it until I got out of the Army. I got out of the Army. I wasn't kicked out. I finished my term. And I got out and I came back to the civilian world. I took those same things that they used to tell me. It was in the back of my head. And then one day I was working at AT&T and I fell into a real bad spot. Spiritually, I was in a real bad spot. And because spiritually I was in a real bad spot, I would come to work sometimes and I'd be really depressed. I was really depressed. And one day I was like sitting at my desk, and literally, and I'm being completely honest with you guys, I was at my desk just crying. And they're like, this lady comes over to me, she's like, what's wrong? Now, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with this lady before. She comes over to me, she said, what's wrong? She said, you're always so upbeat, what's wrong? And I said, it's just all bad. It's just all bad. And she said, I don't talk to you much, but I see you. And I see that there's greatness inside you. But you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in yourself. Right? So this lady, who, like I told you, I had not had a full conversation with up until this day. She said, I'm going to my break. When I come back from my break, I'm going to have something for you. When she came back, she gave me two things. She gave me a devotional. She gave me a Bible devotional. And she gave me a journal to write down my thoughts. And I still have those things right now. That day, right? Using that Bible devotional and that journal, I changed my life. Like for real, like that day, I refocused myself and rededicated myself to finding my purpose and pursuing my purpose. If that laser focus like we talked about. And I like to believe because of that day, I'm a lot better off. But I'm here to tell you guys, man, like, that's why I'm here. I'm here because I raised my expectations of myself. I no longer believe the stuff that people were saying about me. So somebody, trust me, people still talk trash about me, but I don't have time for the energy.
You don't care.
I'm focused.
You don't let it get to you.
So when you get to that place where you raise your expectations of yourself, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your teacher. I don't care if it's your parents. I don't care if it's your friends. I don't care who it is. When you're focused, none of that matters. It bounces off you because it's not in that area that I'm trying to go to. So somebody might say, well, you're a terrible basketball player. You don't know me. I'm practicing. I might be terrible now, but I won't be tomorrow. I bet you I'll be better than I was yesterday. Right? Stay focused. Stay focused. So today I'm here to tell you that you can raise your expectations for yourself Even if you don't feel like anyone else thinks that you have greatness in you. It does not matter what the world thinks of you. What matters is what you think of yourself and what you expect from yourself. Do you guys want to raise your expectations with me today?
Yes.
I'm sorry, do you guys want to raise your expectations with me today?
Yeah!
All right, so I want you to stand up. If you want to join me and raise your expectations, I want you to stand and repeat after me. My name is. Say your name.
Quincy.
I've decided to raise my expectations of myself.
I decided to raise my expectations of myself.
I expect to achieve my goals.
I expect to achieve my goals.
Through hard work and dedication to my future.
Through hard work and dedication to my future.
I expect to succeed in the classroom and in my home.
I expect to succeed in the classroom and in my home.
I expect challenges.
I expect challenges.
But I also expect to overcome them.
But I also expect to overcome them.
I expect the best for myself, my friends, and my family.
I expect the best for myself, my friends, and my family.
This part's important. I expect to be great.
I expect to be great.
Give yourselves a hand. Have a seat. If you just said that with me, congratulations. You just made the first step that's going to determine where you end up. Now, I expect you to follow through with what you just promised yourself. I'm proud of you already, and I can't wait to see the things that you all accomplish in the world. Even if you forget me, Mr. Lewis doesn't matter. I'm a vessel. But even if you forget me, I never want you to forget the promise that you made to yourself. I want to close with this poem by Napoleon Hill. It encompasses what I want you all to remember from today. And it's called The Man Who Thinks He Can.
Oh, that rhymes.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win, but think you can't, it's almost a cinch. You won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For in the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in his state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you'll ever win that prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. That's my time. I want to thank you guys for being a great group. I want to encourage you to raise your expectations. I don't care what the world tells you who you are. I don't care what people around you tell you who you are. You have to know within yourself that you are great. Be great at whatever you try, and whatever you try, you will be great at. I promise. Thank you. Question.